And I'm going to tell the story in two parts, a bit like two parts of the room. First of all, I'm going to talk about transformation, and nearly every speaker in the last 2 days has used the word transformation, and quite rightly so. If you're in the tech space, or in the local space actually, and you're not transforming, you're getting left behind. And I want to give you a little flavour of our transformation. And secondly, with that transformation, what have we done with it? So how do we add value to our clients now at a local level in 2016? And if you come from North America, you might have heard of us. So DAC Group has existed in North America for 43 years. If you're in Europe, you probably haven't heard of us. And our owner, Norm, who's sitting at the back right-hand corner there, he calls us a 43-year-old startup. And again, he's exactly right. Because if we don't behave like a startup, we will get left behind very fast. And we started in Toronto, which is an unusual starting place. And over the 20 years after our origination, we spread our yellow pages, white pages, directories business across North America, and actually were pretty darn successful. And partly because we were focusing on connecting brands with buyers at a national, local, and hyper-local level. So we were working with big and small clients, from the very biggest to the individual franchisee. So that's quite unusual, and gives us an unusual perspective on the world of local, I think. And then, like pretty much everyone in this room, the technology revolution happened, and we either transformed or we got killed. And in particular, trying to connect brands and buyers in that national, local, and hyper-local level became a challenge. And it took two kind of hockey sticks, really, to our evolution. The first one, of course, from print to desktop, IYP, etc. And then really, really aggressively in the last 5 or 6 years, the move to mobile. And those two kind of hockey stick changes take us from a 90% print business 7 years ago to a 90% digital business in 2016. So that is a significant disruption. And actually, because it's all about the consumer, and the consumer's been talked about a lot in the 2 days here, which is great, that technology, especially the move to mobile, has really demanded accurate, relevant, and local advertising from brands, big and small. And actually, I love this picture because until 5 years ago, this didn't exist. So Google local search as a mainstream tool for brands to reach buyers is incredible. It takes local into the mainstream. And for anyone sitting in this room, that's got to be a hugely exciting thing. It's also hugely challenging. And then we start to play with the personalization. So not just localization that the customer is demanding, the consumer is demanding, they're demanding personalization. And for any of you that have done this, and you will all have done this, how frustrating it is to tell any search engine, Google, Bing, Yahoo, Facebook, exactly what you want, and to get a terrible answer is a poor customer experience. So I just Googled 20-inch, for those of you at the back, 20-inch Pirelli tyres in Hartford. I'm telling any tyre seller exactly what I want. And any of us now would expect the exact answer to come back. Actually, QuickFit, and I don't mean to pick on QuickFit, sorry, there's no one here from QuickFit, I don't think, so it's okay. What QuickFit do, and what most brands do, is take you back to their homepage. So they don't take you to the Hartford location. They don't take you to Pirelli, they don't take you to 20-inch. And so that personalised and localised opportunity has been utterly missed. For good reason, because it's quite hard to do thousands of times over and over again. So, as a yellow pages business, white pages, directories business, our choice was to either embrace that revolution or, as I say, get killed by it. And actually what we did was put it at our heart. And fundamentally what DAC has become is an agency business with tech. And we've built that tech to deliver enterprise level and SMB level solutions. So we've built a local presence management platform for enterprise. We've built content at scale for enterprise. We've built an analytics engine for enterprise at scale. And then we rebuilt it for SMBs in a different business called Convergency. So that's an enormous amount of effort and money and investment and bravery from the business in effectively less than 10 years. And 2 or 3 people have told given a slight insight into how they did it. And I can only say I'm the Johnny-come-lately. And I'm riding off the back of the coattails of a lot of people in North America who did this, and I'm very pleased to be in that position because what they did was incredibly brave. Any of you that are entrepreneurial or have transformed your businesses know this. But to just give you a bit of a flavour to the sort of bravery it involved, a declining print market, declining revenues, the requirement to invest in technology. We now have 70 developers in-house. We had 2 5 years ago. So the leadership to believe in our solution, to be the cheerleader when everyone else was stopping believing, and I'm sure there were lots of painful moments when that was true, and actually invest ahead of the curve in something that's very costly is quite an amazing thing to do. And not every business has managed to do it, and we have. Secondly, we followed the buyer behaviour, not our customers' behaviour, not our clients, because our clients would have had us doing almost nothing to change 15 years ago. And actually what we were doing was watching what the customer was doing and the change in their behaviour, so we were following them. And I think that will be a good guide for us in whatever we do in the future. And of course, to all the beautiful lean startup principles, agile development, etc., we readied, fired, and aimed more often than not. And actually, we've started to adopt more of those principles. So the tech team, 65 plus, now, if they're working on a particularly important project, they'll take that team, 5 or 6, and they'll put them elsewhere in the building so they feel like a startup. So they can behave slightly differently, not be inside the big organisation, the big feeling organisation, the corporate feeling organisation. And that does help them behave differently and move at a different speed. And fourthly, we've always believed in the service model. It takes human capital to operate technology. It takes human technology to connect to clients and explain to clients how it works and bring ROI to our clients. So those are some of the things that we've done that I believe have helped us rebuild the jumbo jet in midair and not drop any of the balls of the yellow pages, white pages business that we couldn't afford to drop, even with declining revenues. It was what was funding our ability to transform. And now we're in Europe, and we bring the solution to Europe because we've been successful in North America. And to the discussion earlier, the ability to scale and create locally relevant but scaled technology is our ambition. So how does that work in the real world on a client? And I'm just going to run you through a case study to show you exactly how we bring that to life, all of those different pieces to life on a client. And the client I'm going to talk about is a North American client called Sylvan Learning, which you may or may not have heard of, which is an early years tutoring business, basically. And they have 800 locations all over North America. So they're a big-scaled, sophisticated, deeply local, but scaled national business. And their problem was that the technology revolution was attacking their business model as well. No surprise. YouTube how-to videos, lots of entrepreneurial startups. So they had to go back to the drawing board and re-engineer their brand and their brand promise. And they did that, first of all, at a national level. And they started with all the traditional kind of marketing and media agencies you would expect, digital at a national level. And they got so far, but they didn't get all the way to where they wanted to go. And that's where we came in. They didn't stop doing any of the national stuff, but what we came in to do was to help them really win at the local level and optimize all of the local channels. And I'm sure you'd have been upset if I hadn't have said this. The first thing we did was help them optimize their locations, of course, with our local presence management technology to make sure that they could get found and get found accurately across all the maps, across all the search engines, across all the digital platforms. But we didn't stop there. And of course, we needed to drive traffic to their business. So we then started building paid search campaigns, but not paid search campaigns at a national or regional level, but at a micro-local level. So we built 8,000 campaigns targeting all their locations with 2 million keywords, with copy written for each location. And then, of course, we want to drive them to personalized content because it's ridiculous to become that personalized and localized and drive them back to the kind of .com site. So then we built landing pages, tens of thousands of landing pages, to deliver that promise of the paid search ad to a localized and personalized landing page experience for the customers. Mobile ready, and of course with local telephone numbers. We know that local telephone numbers have a huge impact versus a national telephone number in terms of responsivity, but critically mobile ready. And then we played in the social space as well, because we did have to warm this audience up in the middle of the funnel. We had to really engage them. It wasn't just all about conversion. But again, using personalized content to talk to them in the location they were or exactly what they were looking for. So it was personalized and localized content, even in social. And I wouldn't be standing here if the results hadn't been stellar, no surprise. But, but the way that we help them transform their performance and their acquisition versus anything that had been done at a national level was transformational for them, and has been for the 4 years since we took on this campaign. So we're deeply proud of it, and I think it's an amazing piece of work that anyone in the SMB or enterprise level world looking at local should be interested in. And what technology does, while it makes things very complicated, is it also makes things really accessible. So this is entirely possible for any SMB business. All the personalization and localization is possible if you're small or big. And that's because technology helps us do that. That's why we built the Convergency brand, to help SMB businesses do the same as any enterprise level. And I actually think it's an extraordinary thing that we sit in the middle of. In which other industry can, and you can't quite see this, get up if you want to, but I just ran a search for a Bosch washing machine in a town on the south edge of London. Argos, who are one of the big retailers, national retailers in this country, they're paying for their click. All of the local pack are tiny local providers of washing machines. In what other media could those SMBs compete and win and beat the national businesses? It's quite an extraordinary situation. So anyone can win in this space. You've just got to do the right things, whether you're big or small. And I actually think that's pretty inspiring. And I think it means that we stand at the edge of local, not just becoming mainstream, but potentially becoming the first thing that marketers should be thinking about, not the last thing that they're thinking about. And I personally find that very motivating. And that is it.
Don't go away.
I nearly got away with that. Look, it's all in the aid of cocktails.
Don't jump. Okay.
Sorry, no.
Just one quick question. Obviously, it's an impressive stat on the face of it, 90% paper to 90% digital.
Yep.
Obviously, you can do that by crashing your paper revenue. Yeah. Did you do that by growing your digital revenue?
Sorry, I should have said that we have doubled in size in the last 3 years.
And is your model, you anticipate the SMBs to use your tool to create their own campaigns? Because otherwise it's not scalable, is it?
No, yes. So there's two ways. Number one, if you are a slightly larger business, I think it's right that we help you do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're a white label reseller. So to whomever, there are many people in this room who have the skills, the footprint, the sales force to do that.
Yeah, I think it's a great approach.
Thank you.
Questions? I have one question, because I opened up your website, and the first thing I saw on there was we hire bright, passionate people.
Geeks with personality.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, it's the first thing that comes up, and I thought that was really, really interesting. Can you talk a little bit about,
Yep.
the training, hiring process?
Well, the Geeks with Personality was designed fairly deliberately because it is relatively easy to find a lot of smart geek people that can dev and help you. And there are lots of people who can sell stuff and handle clients, but it's very hard to find the two together. So our absolute ambition is to find the people that can put that into one package and be extremely technical, but also be able to explain it to clients. So number one, you've got to look in all the right places. And I mean, we use some of our own in-house filtering of candidates. So before anyone is interviewed by someone face-to-face, they are filtered on the phone by someone who understands our brand, understands our products. So we actually, I hope, get rid of maybe 90% of the wheat from the chaff before anyone ends up in a room. Someone who really singularly understands what we're trying to find. And it's still not easy. Actually, sometimes it's the maths piece that's the hardest to find.
And how about as far as making them stick with you? What's the average turnover with
So
employees?
one of the techniques we use depends by city. So Louisville has some different challenges to New York to London.
Of course.
No surprise. So one of the things we do is when people come into the business, we give them pay rises every 3 months. at a junior level, just so they feel like they're moving and keeping pace with what Google or Facebook or Apple or whomever are going to offer them. So finding the right people who have the right culture, who have the right combination of skills, and also trying to pay them somewhere in line with the industry that is relevant for us, but is relevant for the broader city as well.
Any other questions? No? Okay, yes, it was a really nice story. Thank you, and you'll be around joining us, and your
I
colleagues
will be
are
having
here
a cocktail,
this
yes.
evening.
Thank you.
Okay, and thank you.